worldview is true, that itself opens the door for us to deny they're empiricist and that deny that their worldview is true, because there's nothing within their worldview that makes us accountable to accept it. That's the problem. Even if I grant everything, I can then, with my next breath, say, but I don't care and it doesn't matter. And I can even deny it's false. And just by them labeling themselves as empiricists, that doesn't remedy the fact that their worldview collapses before it even begins. See what I mean?
No, your line of reasoning is so convoluted I can't follow it.
Okay, but keep in mind, on an atheist evolution worldview, it doesn't matter if my reasoning is convoluted, because there's no universal imperative for me to not be convoluted.
I'm not talking about universal imperatives, we're talking about evidence.
Oh.
You keep sliding around my question. Go into somebody else, you're just sliding around.
Okay, but if we're talking about evidence, on that worldview, there's no justification for me to provide any evidence. See, it's just a giant circle.
No, your line of reasoning is just nothing making sense.
Of course, it doesn't matter on their worldview, because I'm just an accidentally existing ape. That's the point. It doesn't matter even if you could prove I'm 100% wrong in everything I've said since 7 o'clock. It doesn't matter, because there's nothing that holds me to be correct, even being correct about the atheist evolutionist worldview. There's nothing there. See what I mean? Their whole worldview is so collapsed, it's that bad, that even if you leave here saying that guy doesn't know what he's talking about, someone can tap you on the shoulder and say, then what does it matter on their worldview that an accidentally existing ape doesn't know what he's talking about? And you're going to have to say, well, I guess it doesn't matter.
Is that by accident?
Let's go on to the next question.
Steve.
I was going to quote Carl Sagan, I don't know if this is the time and place where he said, universe is all there ever was and ever will be. And, you know, you were talking about entropy earlier without mentioning the word entropy.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to remember what I was going to say about that. Evolution can't be really true, because entropy and, what was I going to say? What was the word I used earlier? Mutations. Okay, entropy and mutations, all right? Mutations always have a catastrophic effect on the succeeding generation. It's like ripping a page out of a book, okay? And then you go pass the book on to somebody else and you make it a mystery, because now they don't get the full effect of the book with all the pages in it, okay? And then you take another page out of that book, and so the entropy continues until you no longer have the book, and then the person getting the empty shell of the book is trying to figure out what was in there in the first place. That kind of reminds me of evolution. You know, you keep taking a bit about mutation, and then it's catastrophic in the end, and it collapses on itself.
If anything is true, it's the theory of de-evolution.
Exactly.
And by the way, what
But
Carl Sagan had said is that the cosmos is all there ever was, is, or will be, which is 100% faith-based. That has nothing to do with science. And that was shown to school kids in public school. That's not science at all. That's just 100% faith-based. Yeah, Alan.
Within the last couple of months, on the New Mexico Rockhounds blog, somebody other than myself posted a picture of a card that comes with a replica of an mosasaur tooth. The original tooth had been found in Africa. And this card presented a young Earth creationist viewpoint on the story of that tooth. And the participants in the discussion there started really laying into creationists. I put in a comment that included a link to an article on radiometrics on the Creation Ministries International site. It's quite a good article, but to be good and presenting the case regarding radiometrics, of course, would naturally result in a pretty long article.
Yeah.
But I felt that it was quite worth it, and it didn't cite any scripture to supposedly improve the evidence. It just presented scientific studies, and so I suggested that people check that out to understand what creationists are really saying. As far as I could tell, nobody actually went and read it. The one fellow who really got into it with me admitted up front that he didn't go and look at it. He just saw that it was on a creationist site, and as such, it was not worth going to. What he wanted to do was to argue doctrines in Scripture to present the idea that the Bible is not worth listening to, and therefore anything I said was worthless. He wasn't looking for the evidence.
Right.
Or anything but what he perceived as evidence. What he perceived as evidence was that I was a creationist, a Christian, and therefore nothing I could say was worth looking at.
So what's interesting is that what he did is to commit a genetic logical fallacy by saying, well, it's from a creationist source, therefore it's invalid. Thank God that on atheism, committing fallacies is not a universal imperative to not commit them, right? And then that whatever he would appeal to supposedly discredit the Bible, he's going to have the same problem. On his worldview, there's no universal imperative to be consistent or non-contradictory or anything. So that collapses the argument he's trying to build in the first place.
I pointed out to him that he was there trying to use the Bible to discredit solid science. And within the next day, the discussion was taken down.
Mm-hmm. If you want, send me that link and I'll put it on our Facebook page. Are we wrapping it up?
Yeah, let's go ahead and wrap. Thank you, Ken, for your presentation. And let's give Ken a hand.